Well, it is time for another daily market summary here on this 21st of May. And the markets have had an interesting back and forth kind of day. They started the overnight session weaker and then got a little stronger as the morning progressed. And we're with Garret Arndorfer of agmarket.net. And Garret, what did we finally see the grains do here at the end of the day?
Yeah, end of the day, the grains actually sold off a little bit. That was following an announcement that the United States and Iran have reportedly reached a temporary ceasefire. They're kind of in the final drafts of that. And crude oil really sold off, and grains followed with that sell off there toward the 10 the day. Crude oil actually down about $3 is what it did when that announcement came out, about 12:15 p.m. there. Your corn's down about 3-4 cents. Soybeans are 6-7 cents. It's not an aggressive sell-off, but from what we were when we opened and traded in the early morning for today, it's not the ending we really expected with that announcement. Your wheat's not terrible with 6-7 cents down on that as well. Pretty mild day for trading. Not a lot of action until that announcement came out.
Now, of course, this is probably is to be expected. When the war started, all these commodities and oil and everything kind of went for the ride up. It's probably it goes without saying that we would expect the opposite when a peace deal would be announced.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you on that. The war premium that was put into the commodities when this started was fairly aggressive, and it really pushed us into some profitable margins for some. It gave us levels that we could really work with, especially after a year like last year that we didn't really get to see, 470 corn but once, and now we reached $5 and some $12 beans, $7 spring wheat. It was war premium for sure. The ending of it could be something to be watching, especially with how crude oil reacts to this announcement of the treaty as well.
Now, moving over to the livestock side of things, boy, cattle, at least to the start of the day, was having a bad day. Feeders were especially taking it hard on the chin. What are we looking at as those cattle and hogs as the day closes?
Yeah, cattle is actually the market of the day to kind of surprise everyone as lock limit down on the feeders, 925 on almost every contract. You got your very deferred contracts that didn't lock limit down. And of course, that May settles today against that feeder cattle index. So that was only down $1.60. Headlines for that really is, kind of a same story. It's been about a month. Fort Morgan, Colorado. Today, Cargill announced that they were doing a lockout. They weren't going to allow the employees in, but from everything that you could find, they haven't really been killing any cattle for about a month. So is that the headline that really causes to be limit down? I'm not sure. We've got the cattle on feed report tomorrow. Estimates have that coming in a little bearish, but we'll just have to see. Those reports can always catch a guy off guard, and it's something to watch. Live cattle were down $5 across the board, kind of into that 550 range. That's just following the feeders and the announcements that, we're coming into a long weekend. Cattle don't seem to like those long weekends with Labor Day coming on Monday or Memorial Day. Sorry. And then they just, $5-6 down on that as well. Hogs, $1.10, $1.60, somewhere in that range across the board for those as well. They're kind of staying in that downward trending angle. They can't seem to break that. They can't seem to get a fundamental headline that's going to push them higher, and they don't seem to trade lower too aggressively as well. It's a pretty technical trading downward channel on those.
All right. Well, if folks want to look at some of the intel that you guys put out and maybe get some ideas of what they need to do for their marketing strategies, what's the best way, Garret, for them to get that conversation started?
Absolutely. Go to our website, agmarket.net. If you want, you can sure give us a call. I'm up here in North Dakota. 701-987-6009 is our office number.
All right. Well, Garret, we thank you so much for the insight and look forward to talking to you again soon.
Yeah, thank you guys.